Hello everybody. Well, this is going to be the first lesson that we're going to try to do online. This is something that we've been doing for the last couple of weeks in class, but we're going to add on. I'm going to try to finish off the unit on coordinate pairs and equations and plotting. So I'm going to try to teach a little bit or review a little bit of what we've done. And then I'm going to refer to the textbook. So everybody has access to this textbook online on the Google Classroom. And if you don't, I'll try to make it available for you to pick up at school. But I'll take some questions out of this textbook. I'll explain them, do some examples on the board. And then I'll also email some booklet copies of the questions to you and your parents, so that you can work through some of those questions at home. You can always come back and refer to the lesson that I'm giving here, as it should be very relevant to the questions that are in the handouts. At the end of it, same as we usually do, I will give you an EP, so an extra practice sheet, which you will complete and hand in to me. You can hand this in to me when we come back to school on January 18th. Or you can try to hand it in to me by emailing it to me. Take a picture, upload it, scan it, and email it to me anytime. But we can also wait until January 18th. So I'll leave that up to you. So this first lesson that we're going to do is starting lesson 5 in chapter 1. So it's on pages 24 to 28 in this textbook. And then I'll tell you about the EP after that. So this one is called Plotting Points and Coordinates. And the first thing I want to go over is this little chart or this graph looking thing. Okay, so this is a way of plotting an equation, plotting different points on a graph or a chart. We call this bottom line the horizontal axis, and it always refers to the first number, like 2, 3, 0, 4. That's the direction you move first. This line here is called the vertical axis. That's always the direction you move second. And when I talk about direction and moving, it's about plotting points. So over here you've got point A is 2, 3. So its coordinates are 2, 3. That means you move 2 on the horizontal axis, and then 3 on the vertical axis. So it looked like this. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. And there's point A. Then you would go point B, 3, 2. Okay, I moved 3 on the horizontal, 2 on the vertical, and there's B. And you can see the same for C, D, E, F. Now C and D are a little tricky because they have zeros in them. So moving 0 on the horizontal axis means you stay right here. And then 5 on the vertical means you go up 5. Boom. There's point C. Same thing here. You go 4 on the horizontal, but then 0 on the vertical. You stay right on the line. So there's a way to plot points. And your students, so your kids, should be able to kind of relate this to the input-output machine lessons that we did earlier in the unit. So that's first of all kind of going over how to plot on a coordinate grid. Okay. You're going to hear these things referred to as ordered pairs or coordinates on a plane. They're the same thing. You'll hear the terms interchanged here and again. So the questions that we get into in the assignment are, sometimes you'll be given these ordered pairs and asked to plot them on a graph, and sometimes you'll be given the graph and asked to come up with the ordered pairs. So let's try a couple. I'm going to go to page 26. So page 26 in the textbook has a chart with letters, and over here it has some ordered pairs. So let's see what we would do there. So I'm going to erase this. If you need to refer to it, obviously you just rewind the video. Okay, so question number 1. It has 4 ordered pairs. 1, 5, 5, 1, 0, 7, and 7, 0. Okay, then it's got the grid, like so. It has point C here, D is here, B is here, and A is here. I could label in all the numbers, okay, or you could just refer to your textbook. But when we look over here, we would say, okay, 1, 5. That means I'm moving over 1 and up 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So this one would be B. Here I'm going over 5, 2, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 1. That must be D. Here I'm going over 0 and up 7. Oh, that must be A. And then here you go over 7 and up 0. This must be C. So that's how you would read the graph and match up the ordered pairs to coordinates on the graph. Well, let's try out number 2. It says, draw and label a coordinate grid. Plot each ordered pair. So let's give that a try. Now, one thing you're going to ask is, how do I know how big to make my 2 axes? Well, that's kind of based on the question, and you look at the ordered pairs. So the ordered pairs, I'll write them out first. First one is 5, 9, and they said that's V. Then we've got 0, 9, that's W. 5, 7, that's X. And 8, 0, that's Y. So this is what they give us, and they tell us to plot it out on a grid. Well, I can see that I go from 0 to 8 on my horizontal part. So that means that this part, I'm going to go up 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I could go more, 9, 10, but I have to have at least 8. That's my biggest number. Over on my second one, my vertical part, I go as high as 9. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay. You want to try to keep these about the same space, so using graph paper is definitely going to be the easiest because it's got all the lines for you. But now we simply read the coordinates. First point is this movement. Second number or point is this movement. So 5, 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Right at the top. And that's V. So there's my point V. 0, 9. So I go over 0, so I stay right here, and up 9. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. There's W. Now I go over 5, because 5 is the first number. First movement is to my right. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And that's X. And the last one is Y. I go over 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And I go up 0. So I stay right there. And I label that as Y. So I've taken these points, labeled them on my grid. Do I have to draw numbers here? No, I don't have to. sometimes it helps me. So I could go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That way I don't have to count each time. When I see it's 8, 0, I just go 8, 0, boom. And I don't have to count each time. So that can help me. But using graph paper is going to be really important to make this as simple as possible. So, as you look at the other questions, the next question is the exact same type of question. You're going to draw a graph, list your ordered pairs, and then plot them on the graph. Now, if I look at those ordered pairs, it's 2, 7, 6, 5, 1, 4, 0, 3, and 0, 0. So my first numbers get as high as 6. So I make sure I go at least 6 on the horizontal. And my second numbers go as high as 7. So I make sure I get to at least 7 on my vertical. Then I go over to page 27, question 4. And I have a picture of, I think it's Vancouver Aquarium. And it wants to know what the coordinates are for the Amazon jungle area labeled A, the beluga whales labeled B, Carmen the reptile labeled C, and so on. Okay, so I'm not going to write it on the board, but I'll just kind of go along with you. For example, A, the Amazon jungle area, you start moving to your right, and you go 8, and then how much do you go up? 1. So the coordinate pair for A would be 8, 1. And we like to put those in brackets. For the next one, the beluga whales B, you actually went over 0, and then you went up 10. So that would be the beluga whales. You could label this as A and this as B. And the last one I'll do for this question is, let's do C. So Carmen the reptile, and that is over 10, up 3. So over 10, up 3. Okay, and you would continue doing that for the rest of them, so that you can get all of these areas, like the entrance, the frogs, the sea otters, labeled with a coordinate pair. As you go down, question number 5, you're using the question 4's graph or grid, its map. But question 6 and 7 are the exact same as what you did for questions 1 and 3, or 2 and 3. And you're just plotting points. But the only thing about question 6 and 7 is those numbers start to get pretty big. So for example, I'm going to erase this and I'll help you out with this one too. So, for questions 6 and 7, the numbers get big. For example, it has 1040, 10 0, 20 20, 0 30, and 50 60. Okay, so it gives you those coordinates, and it says draw a grid, label the grid, plot each point, but then it also asks, how did you decide which scale to use on the axes? And this is the tricky part, because there's no way you want to have to put 60 little tick marks. So that's why you always have to look at these when you're making your grid here. And we can all see that these go up by tens. So there's a 0, a 10, a 20, a 30, a 40, a 50, a 60. So instead of going 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, we go by tens. This is still 0, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 60. Nothing gets any higher than 60, so I'm going to stop there. Now I can label these points. They just had them as A, B, C, D, and E. So A is 10, 40. A. B is 10, 0. C is 20, 20. D is 0, 30. And E is 50, 60. So the tricky part to that question is labeling the graph. The actual plotting of the points is the same as in the smaller, with the smaller numbers, but it's the labeling the graph that can be a little tricky. So, those are the different types of questions you're going to run into. Now, I would challenge you to go through this assignment on page 26, 27, and 28. I think that you could do questions 1, 2, 3, 4. You could do question 5, 6, 7, and question 8. You don't have to do all A, B, C, D's, but do maybe an A and a B or an A and a C from each one, and challenge yourself to see how you can do with creating the plots and the grids. Okay, and then once you get this done, the assignment for hand-in is going to be the EP5, questions 1 and 2. And you're going to do all. It will look, it'll look like this. So plotting points and coordinates, it gives you one with a grid, and you just have to give the coordinates for the A, B, C, D, E. Do all those. Question 2, it gives you these points and it wants you to label them on a grid. So again, you can do all of those. And that would be your hand-in assignment for lesson 5. I think I'll probably stop the tape here and I'll record a different assignment, kind of a different lesson for EP6 and EP7. They're similar, they're very similar to some of the topics that we've done here, so you might want to refer to some of this lesson when you're doing lesson 6 and 7. Okay, I hope that helped. Good luck doing the math.